And before the bench today, a woman who refuses a C-section and is charged with murder. Prosecutors say she showed a depraved indifference to human life. That from the prosecutor. But the woman says she did nothing wrong. Does the government have jurisdiction over a woman's fetus? Joining us here in Studio B is Lise Wheel, former federal prosecutor and now Fox News legal analyst. And in Houston, Nelda Luce-Blair, former prosecutor herself. Nelda, your thoughts first.
I think that this woman has absolutely committed a crime. I realize that there's a lot of questions about a woman's choice and involved in this, and a great deal of much larger than abortion. But let me say something. This child was a few days from being born. There's not a lot of difference than if the child had been born and a few days later she had decided she didn't want to feed him.
Lise, is there not a lot of difference?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, let me say this is an incredibly painful case. There are no winners in this case. But to charge this woman with murder is absolutely outrageous. Whether you like it or not, morals and ethics aside, the law in this country is that a woman has a choice. A woman has a choice in whether and when to deliver a child. She made the decision to go ahead and have a natural childbirth rather than a C-section. And for the doctor to say, A, that she committed murder, and B, that the children would have lived if she'd had the C-section is incredible. No C-section, no childbirth is 100%. And one of those two children did survive.
Nelda?
Oh, but you know, what she actually says, at least in the reports I've read, is that she was told by multiple health professionals that to have a C-section would have saved the children, and to not have a C-section would most likely result in one dying. She chose not to so that she would not have a scar on her body.
Well, now wait.
That is not the responsibility.
That's going too far, because the truth of the matter is that's hearsay. It would certainly be hearsay evidence in court. That's a nurse in the hospital who says she said that. The woman says she didn't say that at all.
Too.
In fact, the woman says her contention is she had already had 2 C-sections. She already has a scar, and that wasn't the point. At least that's how it's laid out right now.
Right. So far, the prosecutors are saying they see no other reason than cosmetic that this woman refused a C-section. No other reason, according to her.
Nelda, and the prosecutors are inside this woman's brain. They're inside her head. They can establish her intent. I don't think so. And Shep's exactly right. That those statements, those hearsay statements, are not going to be coming in at a court of law. They're simply not. The prosecutors overreached here in a very, very sad case, but they overreached.
There is a bigger issue here. There is a bigger issue, and I think that there are some people who will say, we're going over the line here. There are those who are, especially right, you've got to suspect that this sort of issue is one that will attract those who are on one side or the other of the right to life case, and that this could become something bigger. For instance, if she's convicted of murder here, what if the doctor tells you, okay, no caffeine, and you have caffeine? Then is that murder? The doctor tells you, don't run after, you know, where does it stop?
Don't smoke. Have a particular diet. Eat the particular calcium pills. And if you don't do that, maybe it's not murder, but it's manslaughter or something like that. I mean, can you imagine a society where that is what women live in, that kind of fear?
What about it, Nelda?
Let me say something. This line goes both ways. I don't disagree, Lise, that you can say it could extend to some unusual circumstances that we don't want government restraints on. But you have to look at the other side of the line, too. What if this woman had decided that while she was delivering, she didn't want to have this baby, or she didn't want to mess up her body, or for whatever reason, she decided to not take steps to help this baby live? You've got to draw that line, too. And when you're told a few days before a child's born that you have to do something in order to save its life, you do it.
Complicated.
Those aren't the facts of this case, though.
I'm out of time. This is available online, and we'd like your thoughts. Studio B at foxnews.com. Nelda and Lise, thank you both very much. Coming up from Studio B, the same-sex marriage battle from coast to coast. Massachusetts, lawmakers trying to hammer out a bill to ban it. In California, the Supreme Court putting a halt to it. We're live in San Francisco with the details on this one. The prosecution wants the testimony of Kobe Bryant's accuser limited to a narrow area of questioning. Now the Colorado Supreme Court's getting into this one. What about her sexual history over the 48 hours prior to? Does it belong in? Should she have to talk about it? Or is that over the line with the rape shield law? All of that coming up on a complicated day in the news. Your bottom of the hour headlines with an update from Spain coming next.